Hey everyone, this is Tim Nuss from HarvestPort, and thanks for joining today's webinar. We're going to go over HPX, which is HarvestPort's online platform. But before we dive into that, just wanted to give everyone a bit more information about HarvestPort and what the tool is for. So HPX is our online marketplace where we connect both growers as well as ag retailers and manufacturers, and basically connect both parties to save time and money on inputs purchasing. So we have a database where growers can create accounts and look at their historical use report data on chemicals, soil amendments, fertility, basically all the inputs that they're using on an annual basis, and really forecast and plan those needs to get a little bit better handle on where you're spending certain money. And the idea is to definitely save time with how the process happens at a lot of growers, and save time for both the growers and retailers, connecting those sides. So we'll dive in here, and I'll pause a bit after each section just to make sure there's no questions that come up, and I'll try to answer some questions along the way as well. So this is a view of what a grower profile would look like. Right here we have a farm in California, in Merced County, that has a mix of crops. So we'll kind of dive into application history, which is kind of the first feature I'll show you. So we have a dashboard that looks at your application history based on permits. So HarvestPort has subscribed to several data sources in California to obtain all the use report data that's filed to the county, so we can essentially link your information to your profile so you can have a good window into what you've done historically on chemical applications. So I'll show you a bit how this works. So the most used products will give you a set of filters, and when you apply those filters, we'll update your list and show you the top 20 products that you're filtering for. So here we'll look at cotton. This grower has some cotton, so we'll select that. You can filter by product type if you want to look at that level. You can also filter by month if you wanted to see when in the year this products are being applied and get a window into that. You can select by month. In this case, we'll just leave that open. We'll run that filter, and you can see it updates the list here, showing you your top products for cotton, ranking it by applied acreage. So the use report data is shown here to the left, showing you your total quantity used and also the acreage that it was applied on. And we also couple that information with active price points that HarvestPort is bidding to our retailer network. Currently, we're bidding to over 30 retailers in California and the Midwest, getting a really good picture on pricing across the industry and also across multiple geographies. So the pricing that we'll pull in is active pricing for HarvestPort members that's available now, showing a minimum, a maximum, and an average. Sometimes there's not a price listed, and that just means we don't have a current active price for it. So it might be a pricing that has been expired. And generally when we bring on new growers, we'll be circling with them to get an idea of their upcoming needs and bidding out any upcoming products that we don't have an active price point on. So within each product, you can search and drop down and filter and look at usage month over month. So you can see this Agromech miticide, give you a little bit more details on the manufacturer, the product type, and also the active ingredient, and also get a window into the usage month over month. So you can see this product is applied kind of over the summer months, June, July, August. So this just gives growers a little bit of a window to see on certain products if they're applying multiple months throughout the year, if they can perhaps buy it all at the start of the year, and if they have the storage capabilities to lock in a good price before they're going to be using that product month over month. You can also toggle to market view, which would essentially show you the county that you operate and what that would look like on a countywide basis. So a little bit of a benchmarking tool where you can kind of see geographically what others in your region are applying. So we can toggle over to market, and you can see that list updates a little bit based on what the market is doing in general on cotton. And again, you can drop down and see the usage over time as well. So now we'll scroll down to the PUR data set, and this is essentially where you can see all of the data on your permits. Again, you can run filters against those, and you can also download as a CSV if you want to bring that data outside of the product. You can pull that out as well. The permits tab is where we link those actual permits. Many of our growers farm in multiple counties, so we do have the ability to link multiple permits, which is really interesting, especially in a view like this, where you can kind of aggregate your need over multiple counties and see the combined usage of all of your acreage. The docs tab is where we can hold specific information, kind of a shared drive for HarvestPort and growers. We can link the actual copies of the restricted use permits. So we link those in there. Also ranch maps for delivery and different resources about how to use the product. And also this is where we track orders. So when we have orders that go to our retailer network, this is where growers can reference what was ordered, what the agreed price was when those retailers are invoicing growers for those particular orders. Products tab is where growers can come and search and just get really good information on specific products. So we'll look at a certain product here. We'll go to Goal, which is a widely used herbicide in California. So we'll select that. As you go into Goal, it will give you a quick overview showing you the lowest price, the highest price, and also an average price. It will also pull in the all-time low and the all-time high, and this is particularly interesting on products where there's shortages or a product is on allocation, like we saw with Intrepid last year. Pricing spiked quite a bit, and comparative to the year before in 2018 was quite a bit lower. So just an additional kind of reference point for growers to get an idea, kind of seeing if the lowest price is a good price in relativity to what that price normally would be. As you scroll down, it gives you an idea of the vendors that product has been bid to, when that price point was created, when it was expired, and also a view of the price and equalized price. And this is particularly important if there's retailers that are quoting in two different units. If somebody's quoting in pounds and somebody's quoting in tons, it converts all to one unit, so you can kind of see the true comparison there. As you scroll down, it will provide all the product details and formulation info, as well as details on the active ingredients. And we'll also link the documents. So if you needed to quickly grab a label with mixing instructions and get that out to someone on the team, you can quickly click those links and it'll bring up the PDF versions of those. As you scroll down, we come to the alternate products view, which is something that HarvestPort is really excited about and has been very helpful for a lot of our growers as a way to quickly identify alternative products, whether it's a different manufacturer or a generic, still with the same active ingredient that would have a similar effect on the crop, but potentially find some savings with a cheaper product. So in the case of Goal, you can kind of see the top 4 products here are a pretty close comparable option to Goal. And as you get farther down the list, these options become a little bit less effective, or you might have to increase the rate to get the same effect. But just in this example, you can see this Willowwood Oxyflow product at $35 a gallon is over $8 a gallon difference from the current Goal price. So depending on how much of that product you're using, you can uncover some pretty good savings by using this tool. And the comparability wheel here will basically fill up to 100% full if that's a 1-for-1 direct comparison. And this is going off the active ingredient and the rate. So just a good quick way to easily identify those alternate products. The prices tab is kind of a quick way just to search through pricing as a grower. If you don't need all those details and you don't need all the research, you can quickly search pricing here. If you wanted to look at Roundup, you can just key in the product name and it will essentially pull in the lowest price there. So you can just, if you wanted to scan through pricing, this is kind of the quickest way to do that if that's all you're interested in. I'll pause here and see if there's any questions. All right, now we'll move ahead and Go to the next feature, which is forecasting, which essentially ties all of this information together and is really for HarvestPort where we start and actually plan with growers, look at their upcoming needs and build out a plan for the year. This helps growers be prepared for upcoming needs that they have, and also helps the retailers plan and come back with strong pricing. So we're trying to save time with both those parties with the forecast. So on the forecast tab, we have the ability here to create any number of forecasts for your operation. You can do it by commodity, you can do it by county. If you have organics and conventional, it's really up to you how many forecasts you have in here and how you do that. So it's really adaptable to how growers are currently planning and how they look at that. So we have a few different examples in here, which we'll show you, but just wanted to kind of walk through how you would create a new forecast. So we'll select new forecast. We'll search a commodity. We'll use cotton again as an example. You would select the county. So we'll go with Merced County, keying in your acreage for that commodity. Click next to move ahead. So this brings up 3 different options for our growers in California, where we have the historical data, the PUR data. That's generally where our growers will start to kind of have a look back at what they did historically as a baseline, and then make small adjustments from there. That's kind of the quickest way, least amount of data entry required to kind of start a forecast that way. You can also start from scratch and click none. If you just wanted to just individually add products one by one, you can do that and select none. And the market data option is more of a top used products by commodity, and typically more of a use case for our growers in the Midwest that are growing corn and beans and just want kind of a generic crop packages for their forecasts. As you scroll down, another set of filters will pop up, so you can select the permit that you would like to run a forecast for. In some cases, you'll have multiple permits, so you can pull in multiple permits and run a forecast on those. You can filter down to the site ID if you plan at that level. Again, you can search product type. If you want to just have an herbicide budget or fungicide budget, you can do that as well. Then you would select the year's worth of data that you want to use kind of as your historical baseline. So we'll select 2018 here. This little info tracker will pop up and show you just kind of a general idea of what you're about to create here. It'll say your forecast will be generated from 980 historical use reports, and 63 forecasted applications will automatically appear in your forecast. So we'll click next again. You can name your forecast. So we'll just call this one test. You can also add any notes if there's any kind of additional details or color commentary that you'd like to share with your team that is using HPX. You can add that in here as well. So we'll create this forecast and it will pop up. This will give you a quick dashboard showing what you've created here. Again, the commodities, the county, the acreage, any notes. It'll also give you a look at your total costs based on the products that you historically have in there, and then total savings. Total savings right now is a metric showing HarvestPort's best price compared to HarvestPort's average price. So just kind of a quick way for growers to see where the strongest savings would be on a product by product basis. In the future, we're going to have the ability for growers to key in their own pricing or historical pricing on forecast to generate kind of an actual savings. So that'll be rolled out in the months to come. So as you look at the forecast, it will group together products on a month-by-month view, showing you when you've applied products historically. So we'll look at February here, and there's 4 products that are applied. Looks like mainly an herbicide program here in the spring. So as you scroll across, it will show the product name, a little pop-up for alternatives. We looked at that on the product search page, but again, if you want to quickly identify if there's another product you could be using, as opposed to this product, you can pull up and identify those here and quickly add those to the forecast. So a good idea for growers that are open to other products and not necessarily a name brand product, where they can see if there's something else that might be a cheaper option and add that to their forecast to kind of run those scenarios as well. The application type is kind of a free-form field where growers can name different spray events that happen. If this is a pre-season burn down, you can add that application type and just key that in. So you can name the application type. So if you have multiple spray events that happen in a month, it will actually give you a summary of the costs associated with those spray events month over month, which is helpful if growers are budgeting that way. So as you scroll across, it will show the price per unit. Again, if there's not an active price point, the price won't be available yet. So as we get growers onboarded, we'll be bidding out specifically for them our acreage and grouping that with the needs of our grower network and updating that prior to growers jumping in. It will pull in the lowest price available. In this view, growers are anonymized. Once growers become paying members, we give a little bit more insight on which retailers those are being bid to. As you scroll over, you can update the application rate and also the acreage. If it's 100% application, you can essentially key over to that and update your application. It will produce the quantity needed for that month. So kind of a pretty quick way to get a handle on your budgeting. And this level of planning generally involves working with a PCA or an agronomist to actually fine tune these numbers to come up with the forecast. As you scroll across, if you wanted to move this product to later in the year, if you're actually going to apply that in March this year, you can select down and drop that to a month below. Every month will give you a total estimated cost associated with those sprays, so you can have an idea from a spend perspective what your highest used months are. And again, this is just a starting point based on historically what products you've used, and really after you get the baseline set up, this is kind of really where growers dive in and get hands-on with the actual planning and making sure the acreage is up to date and the rates are up to date and getting a real clear idea of the upcoming needs. I'll pause here again and see if there's any questions. All right. So I'll move ahead here, and as we scroll down it again, it'll just show you the month by month view. And now we'll pop out and look at a few other forecasts that we have built in here to show you what those look like on a few other commodities. So in this case, we have cotton, watermelon, pistachio, tomatoes. We'll take a look at the tomato budget. Also in this view, you have the ability to extract those as CSVs like we saw with the PUR data. If you wanted to manipulate that outside of the product, growers always have the ability to export those. If they want to make adjustments in Excel outside of the product, they can do that. And this is where you would essentially edit or delete forecasts if you wanted to adjust certain things on the forecast. So we'll take a quick look at the tomato budget, again, giving you the high level overview of the commodities, the county, the acreage. Another thing to note is the forecast status. We have the ability to have kind of a playground mode, which is really where growers are doing their planning and they're fine tuning their plans. And when you click over to active, that essentially notifies HarvestPort that you have an active forecast that you're going to be wanting to purchase in the near future. So that would alert us to kind of look at the plan and make sure that we've bid that out to our retailer network to come back with really strong pricing on the products that you'll be looking for. So again, this just shows the month over month usage of products associated with this forecast. Again, if you wanted to look at goal, we looked at this example in the product search earlier, but if you wanted to actually see what that would look like with the Willowwood product that we were talking about, you can click add to forecast, select the price point, and that would essentially just drop it to the line below. So you can kind of compare options of very similar products over an $8 a gallon difference and kind of show you what that would look like if you replace that product. So you can unselect goal if you just wanted to kind of run different scenarios with generic options. You could unselect that and look at this same kind of program, replacing that with more of a generic product. So this is kind of where we end the trial generally. Forecasting is kind of where we end the demo, but really where we start with growers, and would love to connect with anybody that's listening here and kind of look at what this would look like for you as a grower, and really try to see if we could save you some time and money with this platform. So we do offer some trials to get started with us, and would love to discuss that with you. So if you're interested, definitely go to HarvestPort.com. There's a call to action if you'd like to participate in a demo. So if you fill out that information, that'll go directly to me, and I can follow up with you, and we can kind of walk through what this would look like for your operation and see where we can go from there. So really appreciate everyone's time listening in, and hope to speak with you soon. Thank you.